course, you can share it. I'll tell you when we get to that point. Let me see. Is this
I
live?
see. I got it. I got it.
Why does this not look live to me? Hold on a second. It says that we're live, but I don't see it on my channel. Hold on a second. Very slow. Oh, there it goes. Okay, it was a little bit slow. We're there. Okay, so let's see. Let's record on this end. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Goldfish Report. I'm your host, researcher Louisa. Today is Friday, October 11th. You know what? I don't hear myself in my ears because I'm not plugged in. Hold on a second. There we go. Okay. You guys hear me better now? Or no? Can you hear
Yeah,
me
we
now?
hear
I can hear
you.
you just
Do you
fine.
hear me right now?
Yep,
Okay, so
we hear
this
you.
I have an adjustment on here, right? And I can turn it to turn my volume down, and so there's no way to know if it's in the right
Have you ever
direction.
done this thing before? Or
Yeah, so okay. I just am not hearing myself in my ears, and I should
Or
be.
turn it up a little bit.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I'm just hoping that the audio is working tonight.
you sound a little quiet, maybe.
Yeah? How about now?
Better,
Better.
better.
How about now?
That's good.
That's
That's
good.
all the way up, but okay, I'm gonna go with this. Sorry about our little audio problems tonight. Let me keep going. Friday, August 11th, 2024. This is Goldfish Report number 1116, and this is our weekly Food for the Soul with our wonderful, lovely guests, psychic medium Mark Christopher Nelson and his lovely wife, Barbara, who is also his paranormal investigator. So, and many other things. A woman of mystery.
Confidant.
Yeah, a woman of mystery.
A woman of mystery. So, by the way, so Barb and Mark, welcome back.
Thank you.
Glad to be back,
Yeah,
Louisa.
happy to be here.
Yeah, a
That's
lot of
good.
things happened this past week that
Oh,
another hurricane, but then it dissipated as soon as it hit land, like the second it hit land.
yeah.
And
Hmm.
my intel sources, well, you know what? Well, you're the psychic. Give us some information. Tell us what was going on with that.
I have a feeling that there's politics tied to weather, and that there's some people thinking that perhaps they're a little bit this. I mean, I feel like that there's government interference at the very least. I do believe that weather manipulation is is just one of the tools that they have at their disposal, and that perhaps this doing cranking things up before the election is not having the desired effect, whatever they believe that to be. There's a lot of anger with FEMA and that federal
Uh,
response, and so I think it's well deserved. Everything we hear is that they're not doing well. They're doing a bad job. They're not helping. If um, I'm sure there are good-hearted, strong, professional people in FEMA. There are, but we're hearing only about the difficult stories. So that's mine. So what I hear too at a psychic level is that I feel like that this has not gone the way it was supposed to. I feel like that someone let a genie out of a bottle. The genie was a lot more violent than perhaps they knew. This is not a precise. I mean, they can manipulate weather. They being whoever's managing assets that can impact weather. I literally talked to a guy today. I forgot to tell this secondhand about seeding
the cloud.
clouds in order to increase their violent um, reactions. This is a guy I know who knows a pilot who did this. So, and he says, I know him. He did this. He told me. He said, and he described how it was done. So in fact, just since what it's worth, the pilot would have this aluminum, there's like an aluminum something, I can't remember,
Or
but
nanoparticle.
there was particles. Pilot would go up in a twin engine plane, fly into a cloud, release these sprinklers that would pour this solution into the cloud. and then he'd pass through it and he'd turn around and he'd hit the same cloud again. And so he could turn one cloud that was just kind of a puffy doing nothing to a violent hurricane or a thunderstorm cloud. And one guy, one plane could do that. So the idea that, and he said this is going back probably 20 years. So I imagine the technology has become much more stronger,
Advanced.
advanced, evolved, and that it would be, put that kind of power in the hands of people that we didn't elect. We don't know. We don't know what their purpose is. So kind of scary.
Yeah, I mean, I can remember doing an interview with a whistleblower from, I would just say, the Secret Space Program, Randy Kramer, Captain Randy Kramer. He worked for the U.S. Marine Corps Special Section, and they were involved in these black op projects. I mean, they would just blow your mind,
Yeah.
blow your mind. And we're talking, UFOs and uh, command centers on the moon, Mars, project, what was it called? Solar Warden. It was called Solar Warden.
Hmm.
And so and he was telling me that they have this radar that can heat the atmosphere in front of a storm and cause it to become more
Virulent.
virulent. Yeah,
Yeah.
because they added this extra heating to the system. Yeah. And that was quite a long time ago when he told me that. So this isn't like recent. And plus, I mean, there's patents.
Right.
Anyone wanting to deny uh that we can control and affect the weather. And I know, like, I like suspicious observers. I like Ben Davidson, cocky guy though, pretty cocky. And he argues, he absolutely says unequivocally they cannot control the weather. And I do have a lot of respect for Ben, but I have to disagree with him on that. I spent 9.5 years interviewing whistleblowers, and now we're starting to see bits and pieces of this coming out, uh, on certain shows, podcasts, reports,
Yeah.
things like that. So it absolutely is possible. And it's very likely. It's very, very likely.
That
But
makes,
big
Well,
clouds can hide a lot of, other nefarious things too.
of course.
Having to evacuate people, having nobody around to witness things. I mean, there really
right,
could be,
right.
you know what I'm saying? Who knows?
Well, in the
Yeah.
face of not knowing, it's like you and I and Barb talked earlier in the week about positive stories of people that even though we don't know, what can we do? How can we, make a difference in the face of such a big unknown threat to the lives of countless Americans? Well, we started looking for stories of people who, positive stories, loving stories, stories where people are getting together. Um, one of my favorite stories well, Barbara and I were watching it. There is a story about a dog. This family, like a grandparents, were taking care of their grandchildren, and they adopted a kind of a mixed breed looking dog. And then this dog was with them when their house was hit by a mudslide, took it
Yeah.
off the foundation and collapsed the house on the family. The boy was thrown underneath
A pile of stuff.
tons of debris,
Yeah.
and that he ended up underneath the staircase where it was totally dark. He couldn't see anything and he couldn't hear anybody. And he thought, all right, I'm going to either drown here because the water is dripping in on me, or I'm going to suffocate. And he's a little 11-year-old kid. What does he know?
Mm.
And he hadn't heard anything. He couldn't hear anybody. And then he started to hear his dog
Dog
barking,
barking
barking
and
furiously and
whining.
whining. And then it turns out like the grandparents come out, from their own, um, brush with death, having a house collapse on them and being
Yeah.
inundated with mud. And they see the dog standing over one part of the rubble and they couldn't find him. So they started to pick through it. And in this place, they finally they got help. They ended up meeting firemen, people with chainsaws to dig this little boy out, and they're all fine now. But
Yep. They found him
it's a wonderful
because of
example
the
of
dog. Yeah.
who's adopting who, who's protecting who. I think at an energetic level, we sometimes choose the people that we want to
Oh,
be
and
close to.
it was a rescue dog.
A
They
rescue.
had rescued it at the day before they were gonna put it down.
Yeah, so they rescued this dog just before. So the idea is like you don't know where help's going to come from. And so it can be, this wonderful young dog took care of his owner. And I really do think it's a not to get too off it, but our pets,
Animals are connected.
our animals are connected to us in
Yeah.
ways that maybe we suspect, but we can't identify. I think that dogs, our pets, our cats, our little friends are more than just little distractions. They're there to teach us and guide us and sometimes protect us. So
That's a
I-
beautiful story. Yeah, there's so many beautiful stories coming out of this tragedy um that are very heartwarming, and I have quite a few myself that I wanted to share with you as well. They're in my feed, and so you know what that means that I have to scroll to get to them. And that's I guess that's my main criticism. If I were to critique X or Twitter, it's that you can't you can't like put your posts in folders and easily access them.
Right,
uh-huh.
right.
And once something's, even if it's reposted or retweeted or whatever, it's forever in that timeline that you just have to keep, scrolling through. And it's so time consuming
Yeah,
and laborious that it's like why would anyone, for someone like myself, and I will archive things as I find important things to do. Um, that's important. It's to have some way to archive your own,
of course.
page, right? So you can quickly access things, you know. And so that
Okay.
that that would be helpful, Elon Musk, if you're listening.
Can I throw out a couple of names of a couple of rescues? If any of our listeners want to donate food or adopt a pet, there's a couple places. One is Mountain Pet Rescue, Charlie's Angels, and then Barbara. What can you tell me if you want to just make a donation? Barbara found a really beautiful one.
Beloved Asheville.
Beloved
They
Asheville.
they've been in Asheville a long time, and they're helping all with the rescue effort. Any money you donate will go directly to the people that need it. If you donate any goods, it'll go directly to the people. There's no middleman. Our organization, the gym that I'm at, Metabolic, that's where we brought our stuff to
Hmm.
Asheville and gave it to Beloved, and they're distributing it to the mountain people, the people of Asheville, all the areas that are devastated. So it's a great organization, and if anybody's looking for a place to donate, I would highly recommend Beloved Asheville.
There's another group that's coming out of like right where we live near Charlotte, which is just east of Asheville by around 2 hours. They're called Operation Airlift, and these are retired people. They're people who
Just
can do this.
donate their time.
They have their own aircraft. They're doing their own thing. To me, that just speaks so highly of, these people are like angels. They're showing
Right.
up. It's hard to imagine for me not being able to walk to a part of the house and get a cold bottle of water. What if there is no water? What if there
Well,
is no energy? What if you're in the dark?
well, and right now, up in the mountains, it's got to be what, in the 20s and
It's
30s?
starting to get colder. We're starting to have a little bit of a colder
Yeah.
evenings now.
And I just saw a post on Facebook. People are sending in coats and mittens and all kinds of things, but it's like they need people. There was a call this weekend for people to help with organizing by size,
Yeah.
age, just to kind of organize it so then they could send it out. So that was kind of neat. They reach out to people when they need help.
Mhm.
But it's so nice to see the community here in North Carolina. Everybody is chipping in.
And from around the
Mm.
country,
It it
really.
it just
Mm.
it gives you faith in mankind again,
Yeah.
like the people
Yeah.
are rising to the occasion.
Well, I wanted to just show you an example of what the government has done so far, in case anyone hasn't seen it. They shipped 3 pallets of electric chainsaws to a community without power. How generous.
Oh, that's brilliant. Apply online for benefits. Oh, we forgot. You don't have any online. You have no internet access or electricity.
Right.
Easy.
Apply online. They were saying to, fill out for that claim that $750 loan that they have to repay. I mean, this is supposed to incite Americans' anger. I
Yeah.
started
Right.
reporting a long time ago that this was going to get this had to get bad enough to affect everybody so that
Right.
everybody had some skin in the game. At some point, if you don't have any skin in the game, you don't care. You really don't. If you don't really feel like you're being affected by the policies and decisions that's going on in Washington, D.C., then, those are the people that are, taking a back seat to this. But it isn't going to change until they are also involved in it too. So what's going to happen is there's good. I had really predicted this. It was very easy to see that this is where it was going, that
Mhm.
events were going to escalate to the point that more and more and more people would then be, let's just say, woken up, right?
Right.
And until it started affecting them, until it affects your doorstep. People I think have more of a mind your business attitude more
Right.
than it's not so much, um, I don't want to do anything to help. It's just that it's not a threat to me yet, and I will
Mhm.
only help if I'm threatened. See, that's the problem, right? It's a
Well,
problem. So it allows it to continue, and yeah. So I mean, we have a lot of other good stories too, and I'm trying to get them lined up for you. I mean, it's true uh that you can't file things on Twitter, but you can bookmark them. So I do try to do that. And then, what
Mhm.
happened? I'm finding like a lot of posts are gone. I'm wondering if they're just doing
Oh,
a little cleansing because I feel like I'm
wow.
scrolling here for a long time and I'm like I shouldn't have to be scrolling this long because uh it's almost like I hardly find any at all.
well,
Okay.
Like you get purged or something.
It's possible. And they're complaining about this. The Democrats, I have to say, are the ones complaining about this right before the election too.
mhm.
So let me see, what was the second name? It was I'm sorry, Mountain Pet Rescues, and then what was the next one?
Charlie's
Oh
Angel,
yeah, Charlie's Angels.
like
Okay,
the
that's the
TV show.
Then there's an Operation Airlift.
yeah, I got those. I just didn't get that middle one. Um, and that is so predicted in psychological literature that you wouldn't remember the middle
I
one,
know.
but you would
I've heard
remember the
that.
first and the third one. Yeah, it's just how our brains work.
I hear about
But
that. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, so I just wanted to share this clip of them saving some animals here. So you can see.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
gonna,
lots of horses up there,
eh,
ranches, goats, sheep.
You
yeah.
know, to all of those people who are helping are
Mm,
part of someone else's manifestation. Let's say you own horses. You're afraid of what's going to happen to them. You pray for help, then help shows up. Why
right.
does it show up? Maybe the people doing the helping were, there was something that was touched in their heart. There was something that they felt different. They realized I can make a difference here.
Yeah,
So,
like the
That's
guy.
beautiful. And
Trailer.
this is just one of so many stories. I mean, I have more that I'm going to share too. Um, it's the animals that I feel terrible. And of course, the fires in Wisconsin. I mean, sorry, Wyoming. That's
yeah,
a
Wyoming.
really horrible. They
Oh
must
my
have a
God.
lithium site there too, right?
No,
yes.
Uh,
it's
Oh, no.
they have cobalt. They have
uh,
cobalt, and I think they do have some lithium, not as much as Asheville, but I think it was cobalt they have under the ground.
mm.
But yeah, you don't hear about it in the news, huh?
So
You
here's another. Yeah, I mean, this is what I'm saying. So here's another one. This is FEMA is not doing this. This is a line of ladies waiting in line to take loads of linemen's laundry home. All the linemen asked,
Oh,
what were
wow.
these ladies standing in line for? And that's what it was about. They were all waiting to help these guys out. And this is how it is in the South. I'm telling you. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
half my family's from the South, so this is just how they are. It is very hospitable. They are very much,
Laundry
into
lady.
helping one another. It is,
Yeah.
not it's not a big deal. I mean, the further north you come, the less friendly and connected people are. They're more
Yeah.
disconnected. Like once you come to this metropolis, the New York City, Gotham, once you come to this metropolis here, it's
Or LA.
people are quite disconnected, I have to say, in that regard. But at the same time, like 9/11 happened, it was
Yeah.
like everybody went down there to help everybody in New York City, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Or something like
Mhm.
that. Um, so like it's like a brother, it is a brotherhood of like firemen, policemen, things like that.
Oh,
And
yeah, it
Yeah.
is.
other kinds of groups that kind of, and so something like that. Yeah, people definitely came together in that way. But that was beautiful. I mean, you wouldn't think. I mean, these guys have probably been out there for days without having clean
Yeah.
clothes and stuff, like
Yeah.
repairing, right?
We saw a really neat thing, a small community, they call them hollers in the mountains. That's what the mountain people like. You can holler to your neighbor, you know. So in this one holler, the bridge was out so that
Oh,
nobody
yeah.
could get out.
Yeah.
So this one guy took off his truck off his semi and they used the flatbed part and they put two flatbeds together and they
Mhm.
made a
A really
bridge.
good bread.
Yep, I saw that.
And they did
Yeah.
it so fast, you know, it was like, what
Yeah.
a great idea.
And that's the thing. I think we have come to realize that we don't need as much government as we have
Mhm.
Right.
presently. And I think that it really, United Cajun Navy, they've been
Yes.
unbelievable. These guys, let me also screen share their site page because these
They
guys,
were they were all over it
By the way,
immediately.
I gotta say too, I saw Joe Biden today scoffing at the idea, saying it's ridiculous that there's someone trying to impact the weather, control the weather, coming
And
from
there's
Joe.
video of Lyndon Johnson admitting those who own the weather own the world.
yeah, it's
And that-
true. Look, like I was interviewed earlier today on Beyond 50 Radio. And Daniel Davis is the host, and we were having these discussions about the fact that there's technology, advanced technology that exists that we just can't, we've seen it in sci-fi movies, and in some ways they think that's their way of being exempt from karma if they tell us in movies the truth and they tell us what they're going to do. Then they think that, well, you've been given notice, and if you haven't opposed it, then, it's really breaking all the rules. I mean, I don't see how, it isn't gonna exempt them from karma. I mean, they're all going to be damned just like the fallen angels. But anyway, and I do think that they're behind some of this as well. I think because um, they want to inherit the earth. They want to really kind of remove all humans or just some that can still remain to be their slaves. And that's that whole, New World Order, one world religion, one world thing, things like that. We have to resist that. I mean, there's another thing to be said for the fact that, yeah, we're one planet and we should be united in that regard, but we don't have to forfeit our culture and our identities to do it. We shouldn't
Yeah.
have to.
No
So,
one.
this is the website, United Cajun Navy. These guys are search and rescue, disaster response and recovery, family, faith, ordinary folks. And these guys are amazing. They've been flying in, they've been bringing supplies. There has been no government, helping down there. Nobody. I, I mean, and then to be told, you're going to get $750 just like over in Maui. You know,
Oh,
this
they
is,
only got 700.
Oh, the other thing too, we watched
uh,
the mayor of this town talking about his daughter who applied for $750 and they gave her 300.
She only
And
got
this is I'm the
yes.
mayor of this town, and it's like they're giving us 300.
Which
Yeah,
did
town?
they Oh, where was
I
that?
wish I could tell you. It's definitely
In
west.
Western
It's a small
Asheville, yeah.
town near
Mm.
Asheville.
Morganville?
Oh,
Was it
honey, I can't
Morganville?
remember.
I
I can't
think it,
remember.
yeah.
Well,
We
let
used
me
to,
check in. Yeah, I'll say hi to everybody. Oh, my
one
keyboard
thing I
working?
too, we saw the Cajun Navy
Yeah.
bringing in food on pack mules and donkeys. So
Right. That was another video, the clip that I have, but I can tell you that I'm far more you might be able to psychically pick up on this or intuitively pick up on this, but I think I'm far more addicted to posting news than I think I am.
I don't think you need a psychic to tell you that.
I know, right? Oh God, it's just, like you just said, God compels us. He talks to us through our hearts, or we have a
Yeah.
direct connection to our Heavenly Father through our heart.
Mhm.
And when he really speaks to us, we know. It's,
Yeah.
Oh,
there's
yeah.
just there is absolutely, unequivocally, no doubt whatsoever. It's like you just know you have to do something. You just do it. And you don't really know why, but it's so profound that you're not supposed to question it and you just do it. You don't find out until later, right? We just find out. Isn't that right,
Yeah, I would say
Mark?
too that if everyone is aware of their own personal connection to God, the divine, I feel like I've called God all kinds of things, Spirit, God, the divine, Lord, Jesus, whatever term makes you happiest. I don't want to have to come up with the 35 names of God here. It's the same person. It's the one that I ask to work through me. In fact, if you, are thinking about how can I expand my connection to God, ask God, how do you want to work through me today? How do you want to work through me? It's a great little, it's a thought, but
Yeah.
it's something that can help you find a way to give to a cause you care about, or to take care of the people in your life who you love, whatever it is you want to do.
I'm sorry, I was trying to just get the message sent to our people in the chat. Hi, everybody. Welcome. So glad you joined us tonight. I see Destined for Greatness. Oh, she wants to know if Asheville will recover from the disaster. What do you think, Mark? What are your thoughts on that?
I think they will. I think that from an
They're good.
energy, they're
Yeah.
coming back. I feel like that it's going to come back different. I think also too, people are going to come back with an idea of a recognition of who helped me. How do
Yeah.
I respond to the fact that I thought this group would help me, the government here would help me, but these people helped me.
Right.
It's a
Right.
wonderful opportunity to become closer to people that you live near that are in the community. So keep that in mind. But yes, it's coming back.
They're trying to get, because a lot of tourism goes there about this time of year because the changing the leaf color, the holidays, Christmas. This is people from Eastern North Carolina and all the eastern states, they all go to the mountains to enjoy the holidays. So they're really trying to clean up the towns, get things back as soon as they can. And they'll be open to people, visitors, because they run on the tourism. So they're would be hurting if they didn't have that. So they're hoping to get things up and running at least by Thanksgiving in some of the towns that they can.
Well,
Boone
the
was
good news today is that I heard that 163 missing children were accounted for finally.
good,
Oh, thank God.
good.
Yeah, I didn't get all the details on it yet, but I'm waiting. I just got that report right before we went on. So that was really good news. Um, Let me also go over to, let's see, my bookmarks and share a couple other stories. I don't understand why people have to do things like this. As much as there's good stories, there's these people that just do stupid things like this. This little dog, someone left this little dog tied up to a fence
It's okay, buddy.
during the
It's okay.
storm. He was in,
It's okay. It's okay.
this dog would have died if
It's
they
okay.
didn't happen to drive by, and that was their
It's
intent.
okay.
Why do people do this?
It's
I just
okay.
don't understand.
Ooh,
Poor
that's
little dog.
happy.
Yeah. He was much
I
happier. In
don't
fact,
blame
I
you.
have a follow-up on this dog.
Oh, when they got him,
Good.
yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
God.
Did you see that?
No.
No.
No? I have, I think it's my top
Oh,
story. Let me see if it's on here. It's
did
one of my
that.
top stories that the dog was rescued.
Good.
Again, I hate this scrolling. I really, really do. Look, these are, yeah, other people rescuing dogs. Look at that. They're in the water. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
look how grateful these animals are. I mean,
Oh, that
these
looks like one
guys,
of those, the
Saint
Norwegian.
Bernard?
No.
Oh, it
Oh,
could be. Yeah, you're right. It
yeah.
could
A
be.
Bernese mountain dog. It
Yeah.
looks like
Oh,
look like
let me see. Here it is. This is, his name is Trooper, the dog,
uh
saved by Florida Highway Patrol after being found tied to a fence on I-75 near Tampa during evacuations for Hurricane
Oh,
Milton. Has a fitting new name. Oh, he certainly looks much happier there, doesn't he?
he sure
yes.
does.
I mean,
Thank
what in their right mind? I mean, I don't know what possesses people to do things like that, tie an animal up to a fence that they can't get away from. Why?
It's hideous.
I don't understand that. Maybe, I don't know. There's
I don't
just,
think you're supposed to understand it. You're supposed to recognize it and
yeah,
call it as evil.
Different cultures have different values of what animals
mm,
are to them. You know what I mean? We value
yeah,
them as our friends,
As
our
uh-huh.
companions.
yeah, another
Other cultures would like to eat them.
yeah.
Yeah, which we already found. Now, this is another heartwarming story, which I really love to be able to report. Let me screen share this one here. This one was great.
Dogs and guys.
I can't stand the music.
Oh,
This was an animal search and rescue
oh,
teams responded to a call rescuing 5 dogs and 5 puppies. Look at those little puppies.
Oh
Those
good.
little guys would have absolutely drowned, you
oh,
know? Just, it's
that is
unbelievable.
so sweet.
Look at the little puppies there. I just
Oh,
don't understand. I guess maybe they were a breeder, who knows? But
No.
a lot of people worried
there's
about
an
their
older one.
animals.
Looks like an
Yeah.
Yeah.
older dog. Oh, look
The
at
mama
that.
and the papa, I guess, right? But it's like what are, there's so many animals missing. What you were talking
Yes.
about, yeah, I have that clip too, but I just hate scrolling so much in the, I'll go back to the chat and take a question.
So,
Let's
yeah.
see. I think Sunny's in there again. Let's take a look and see what's up with Sunny. Sunny
Okay.
McLaughlin. She wants to know, will there be more natural disasters before the end of the year?
There's going to be another hurricane or two. I also am very concerned about the threat of earthquakes in Southern California. I'm going to say Southern California. I'm going with I
Mm,
thought Southern. Feels like that there's a great risk. Um, it feels like too that, I mean, we all know there's nothing. I mean, I don't know about more fires. It feels like that the fires up in Wyoming, I'm not sure where they stand. The media doesn't choose to cover that. So, but I do think that there will be at least one more. No, I'm gonna lie. I'm lying to you. At least 2 more hurricanes of a considerable size making landfall before November. Feels like that's coming at us. So everyone keep your eyes open. The idea is
mhm.
don't live in fear. Be prepared to help if you can. You know, we're not all made out of money, but if you can do something, it would be a wonderful gesture.
That's sorry, that's wonderful, Mark. Can you kind of hone in on where those hurricanes might end
I
up?
think that another one's going to hit. I do feel like that it's going to be Florida one more time, but I also feel like I'm hearing Gulf Coast. Feels like it's going to be, if it's not somewhere near Louisiana. Oh, geez.
Mm,
Feels like a Louisiana kind of going over.
Georgia.
No, it feels more like Louisiana.
Alabama.
Alabama. I mean, I think Mississippi, Louisiana area is gonna. It feels like they're up for a punch,
New
and
Orleans, yeah.
yeah, very possibly, which is tragic. An area that can't afford it. So, and I also feel like too that this other one that comes up through the Gulf could hit the west side of Florida once again, heading north, which could cause other damage, not in the same exact path, but it feels like it's going to be trouble. It feels like it's coming within a couple of weeks. I pray I'm wrong.
Mm.
That on the East Coast?
Okay, what about now, sometimes Trump, has a way of sending us messages without
It's
Oh, yeah.
telling
signal.
us, without telling us, you know what I mean? Telling us, but not without telling us, right? He said there was going to be, because sometimes he'll like use things metaphorically. Um, but he said there's going to be an explosion between Harris and Biden now. And he reiterated that, like he repeated it. So can you tap
I
into anything on that?
feel like that people are going directly to Biden as opposed to Harris. I mean, Harris is literally no power. So, I mean, she has the potential to be the president of the United States. However, she can't make the do what Biden can right now. And I feel like that Biden, my sense is that he was, I mean, all right, my sense, we've all heard it, but at a psychic level, I feel like he got pushed. He was pushed out of the way. He recognizes it. He feels
Mhm.
like that he was, it really was as bad as we've kind of suspected. I feel like that it was a
A
palace
coup.
coup
Yeah.
and that they recognized they couldn't win. And there are people within the Democratic Party that made this decision for all Democrats. She wasn't, you know, she was elected as a vice president, not as the presidential candidate. So it's um, really, I do feel like that there will be more conflict and that's going to only serve to weaken her at the polls at a very critical time.
Well, I've been seeing some reports that she's been a frequent guest at the P. Diddy parties, the
Uh,
freak offs. So if she's been at these freak offs, then she's on video. And if she's been at these freak offs, then she's done things that she probably doesn't want on video and doesn't want being released before
Right.
an election. I think uh also that so there's going to be an October surprise for her. Well, Hillary Clinton said that today, that there was uh,
October surprise.
October surprise for Kamala Harris. Yeah, but there's supposed to be an event that goes down on Biden. Look, if we're talking about Q and we want to give it any credibility at all, we have to talk about this because this is in the Q posts. So some event is going to go down on Biden. So he's still in office until January as of right now. So, um, what
I've
kind of
said
event is this going to be? The DEF CON nuclear scare event?
I think that what I've heard, and Barbara can vouch for this,
Mhm.
very early on, almost immediately after Biden um, found himself in office, I'm trying to be kind, but that he wouldn't make it through his term. And so the idea that there's all of this turmoil, the idea that the Democrats are hiding things, are creating, their own issues, and that they are not in lockstep. Very few parties have that luxury, but they're about to go hit a wall. And so what I'm saying is I feel like that Biden will either be unable to continue in any capacity as president, or he's going to pass. And I pray for him, his family. I do not wish this, but I've just heard this through my own messages. If I'm wrong, I'm okay with that. But this is what I've
Mhm.
heard. This is what I've heard from my guides, and that what they've told me is be prepared that things could get messy. In addition, foreign powers may see us in a state of disarray, and when that happens, that could invite other aggression towards us, which is what we don't want.
Yeah, I think because things are definitely heating up over there. I mean, the Middle East is a mess.
Mhm.
And again, and it's escalating.
It's going to get escalate. It's going to escalate. We think everything's fine and quiet because we're busy worrying about little. We're worried about hurricanes and fires a little bit,
Yeah.
and football and silly things that are happy distractions. When in fact everybody else is. Our enemies are not involved with Happy Distractions. They're making plans to not only, I feel like that Iran and Israel they're getting their houses in order for a larger scale war, which is something that could draw us in if we are not cautious. My sense is that there is going to be an escalation, and it's going to be tragic because we're all going to know someone or be aware of someone that is coming under fire. Immediate threat of death.
There was a post this morning, actually I'm trying to find that one too, from Mike Adams, the health ranger. He said that he had gotten, I'm sorry, are you familiar with him?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's on Alex Jones a lot.
Yeah. He posted a tweet today stating that an inside law enforcement or no, well, I think it was law enforcement or military connection he had told him to uh oh no, that the law enforcement were all being told, or the special ops people were all being told to make sure they have a safe house inside their house for their family, and make sure that the window, like all your doors and windows are sealed, have the ability to have a good seal on it. So this, I don't want to fear monger here or anything. It's just that that was what Mike Adams was reporting this morning. That was relayed to him from somebody who is in some special operations capacity, who was told this information. So it has been foreshadowed, though, that we've had these public service messages even from last year. I remember. I'm not really doing, I feel like I'm reporting now and I don't really want to do that, but there was let me see if I can find it. It was a FEMA announcement to how to prepare for a nuclear attack, or a nuclear explosion rather. And then we started seeing like these billboards, public service announcement billboards posted in like bus stops and little, I guess, advertisement kiosks in shopping malls up in, I think one was reported in northern Jersey or something, New Jersey. So it usually takes a little while because it's like a year later after those announcements comes out that you actually have an event that you can relate back to something that was already published and, made public. So I'm just making that point that I did see this, and I have been hearing for quite some time that there could be like a nuclear standoff, another Bay of Pigs. In fact, very close to like another Bay of Pigs scenario. So it wouldn't hurt, I guess, for everybody to put some I guess like a tarp, a roll tarp of clear plastic and some duct tape so you can seal up your windows, or get weather stripping or anything to just kind of make sure you can seal that and have a safe room in your house in case there is nuclear fallout. I mean, look, they don't want this election to happen. Some are saying it's not going to happen, that the event will go down before the election.
Did you hear Trump? I think he just said it today or yesterday for people to vote early. He's recommending people vote when they have, like, ours is October 17th. He's encouraging people vote early. So he must know something.
This is what I was talking about. This is the FEMA. I'd see it's on their website. Be
Yeah.
prepared for a nuclear explosion. Now that was like a year ago. Actually, let me see if I have the date on this, because that's when I saved it. Let me see. It should be a date. Yeah. No. I do remember it was like January of 2021. So that was no, it was more than a year ago. Was it 2021? I think it was. But anyway, this is it. And gives you all that information. I think anyone who's watching this should take a screenshot of this so that they have it for themselves. Why in this day and age are we getting ready for a nuclear blast? Look, it says for more information, visit ready.gov/nuclear blast. when did we start doing this again? We're in the Cold War again?
Hmm.
So, this is what I'm saying. I do think this was from 2021. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that it is. So this was published years ago. And, this is the same tactic that they used with the pandemic, where they had like this cartoon. The CDC had this cartoon. It was like a comic book rather. And it had, like it walked through a pandemic. It said the zombie pandemic. That's what it was actually called.
One thing that's
So,
happening, Hollywood is coming out with, or it's Angel Studios, which I tend to really like many of the productions they're doing. They feel like that they've made a conscious choice to to expose some of the
For
terrible things
child
happening,
trafficking.
child trafficking and all. They're doing a movie called, or they're about to release something called Homestead, which is about a nuclear blast in Los Angeles and how people who would be called those crazy preppers are the ones that are trying to survive, getting out, being in a place where they're safe with enough supplies to hold their own for however long they can.
mhm.
It's called Homestead. And I'm curious, and this conversation is making me think that, at a spiritual level, we have to really do our
Well,
homework. We have to be
there,
prepared.
I have to tell you this story, Louisa. It was a call in on Alex Jones's show, and the guy asked him, he goes, "Did you hear the story about the two Jesuit priests in Hiroshima that survived?" And he goes, "Yeah." He kind of recollected. He goes, "Go ahead and tell me the story." And he goes, "There were these two Jesuit priests. They lived about a mile from the epicenter where the blast, actually, the one in Hiroshima, it blew up in the sky because it does more damage, and it blew out. And that's why there's that famous dome that survived. That was a government building, but it blew out over it. I went there. I took a trip to Hiroshima and the Peace Park, and there were these two Jesuit priests that were a mile from that epicenter where it blew up, and they prayed, and they both survived. And they didn't get cancer. They both lived into their 80s and 70s and 80s. And I'm trying to find that story. There's a story about them, but they prayed and they survived because if you looked at the picture, you go to the museum and they show a blast zone of, like, I don't know, it was like 10 miles, and there was absolutely nothing. It was like
Mm.
they're just rubble. And so, but these guys somehow they survived under the rubble. They didn't get cancer.
Barbara, you done some research recently about what kind of supplements you should take in the event of
Oh, iodine. Yeah, nascent iodine. And
No, well,
all that
well,
does is it won't protect you from radiation, but it protects your thyroid from absorbing the radiation. So I have an iodine drop I take every day. I take one drop of iodine, and they used to put it in our food. It's good for your brain. And then they took it out.
well, I have these pills called NORAD, and they're potassium iodide.
Oh,
So
right.
those are the ones that block the reuptake of the radioactive particles. Yeah, potassium iodide. So you want to be careful though, because if it's not the same as potassium iodine, it's iodide,
Right.
DIDEI. So be careful, because some people might not understand the difference and might take the
Yeah,
wrong thing.
this is good for your thyroid,
Right.
but it won't, honestly, there's nothing that's going to block radiation. The only thing that will help is if you're far away from it, and then you can get even farther away, but yeah,
Um, mhm. Sunny is also asking, she says she's worried about sleeper cells hitting the US. She wants to know any thoughts.
I do think that any war between Israel and Iran is going to serve as a trigger for that. In addition, I think too that one thing I will tell you is I feel like that there can be more sleeper cells after the election. So please don't think it's going to happen only before, because it makes me feel like that there are a lot of people still wanting to stay here. And once they recognize that Trump, I do believe he's going to, uh, so far as I can see, be the next president. That's going to cause a lot of people a lot of anger who are going to react in a violent way to this information.
Yeah.
So I would say be prepared. The other thing too is we're talking about very tactile, um, real down to earth things as spiritual beings too. I want to ask everyone to like I do a lot of visualization where I try to surround myself in the white light of God's love and divine protection. I may sound like this silly, out there person, but I believe that manifesting it is God. I do believe God can be there for us in a time of great need. So please don't forget to surround yourself. If you want to try to do a visualization exercise, imagine surrounding our country, your family, the world, where we live in the white light of God's love and divine protection. It's powerful. It's real. It changes things. It rescues puppies. It rescues people. It causes influential, important people with the
I,
finger on buttons to perhaps reconsider.
I have to show you what I drew before Mark even said that.
Oh,
I drew a heart
oh, wow.
before he even.
Went off and I started sounding like Father Mark,
Because, well, it's
but I
because
believe
if
it.
you put out good intentions, like loving, we're gonna get through this,
Yes,
that is so powerful.
that
The whole intention of like some of the negative news
I
is
think
to
is to
keep
keep
you
us there,
in
to
fear
keep us at a
and
low vibrational
a low
level.
vibration. Yeah.
We don't want to remain at a low vibrational level. We want to see ourselves as contributing to a world filled with peace. What we're talking about today, it can make people afraid. It can make people maybe stay in a place where they're not happy. But Louisa, I know we all know each other, and we're hoping that the people listening will say, okay, sometimes all of these things seem so beyond our control, and we're just gonna whatever's gonna happen, we have no control over it.
Mhm.
Well, I would say counter to that, believe in your ability to be connected to the universe, to God, and to pray, and to see us surrounded in white light. Pray for even if you don't like certain presidential candidates, even if you have fear about other people in other countries, they're still humans, and we're all subject to God's will. So pray for them, be in a focused place of manifesting better behavior, manifesting this idea that we're all going to be helpful and supportive and empathetic, not be violent, not be willing to sacrifice everyone we know for some principle that may mean nothing if we're all dead.
I found that picture. Thank you for that, Mark. And I found that picture. That's right. Don't ever forget who's above, who's way up above. This is the road where the bridge was washed out, and
Wow.
as
And then they
Barb
put
had mentioned,
the
yeah,
semis.
look at the flatbeds there,
There.
and they put the rocks up to keep it from moving and keep it stable,
It is so
and
smart.
look at that. They got themselves a road. They put some wood along the edges of it, and to
Yep.
connect the two sides of the mountains together because it was separated by this. And of course, the dam was opened, right?
And
Yeah.
That's
yes,
why this flooding happened. They
yes.
did it on purpose. I mean, who opens a flood? Who open? Only remember Johnstown, Pennsylvania, the
Pennsylvania.
flood.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
same thing. Okay, so that was that one story there. There's so many stories. I'm going to just go back to this page here. This is again the locals. Let's see if we can watch this. I think this is them making the
All right,
bridge. So
so I want y'all to see what the locals are doing. This ain't the government, this is the locals. Joe Biden and Kamala ain't doing shit. These are locals with their equipment, and this is the bridge they made to get to the other side. I got one of the operators here. So was this a big ass bridge? I mean, like with a 2-lane, like he was just saying?
2-lane bridge, and you can see the original columns. and we washed all the free spans away, and we took what was left of the bridge and made a little bridge so people could get in and out.
And these people on the other side, they've been watching you all day, or excited you connecting them again?
Yeah, they fed us lunch. They're so excited to be able to get their vehicles out and go to town and get supplies. They've been in there for 2 weeks as of today.
2 weeks.
That's amazing, man. So you guys, this bridge washed out. You guys can see the concrete. I'll zoom in on a little bit.
Yeah.
And have you seen Department of Transportation or anything come up here and help y'all? Have they been helping you or tell you not to do something or do it?
Yeah, they kind of got us and give us the okay, to go ahead and put a bridge in, get the guys out.
And look at this thing, man. This is what I'm talking about when Americans come together for each other. They took the old bridge and made a bridge to connect these good people on the other
Nice.
side so they can come to town and get.
That's right. I mean, we don't, this is what I'm saying. We don't need as much government as we have currently. So let me just check in the chat one more time. I guess it's a busy night tonight. Doesn't seem like as many as last week, but it's still nice to see Sunny and destined for greatness. Glad to see you. Glad you stopped by. Thanks for coming by. And we're almost at the top of the hour. Do you have anything new? Any other
Yeah, I would say that I'm getting this very much this idea that I know there's so much bad news. Be focused on loving things that you can project. That seems to be really important. I feel like too that the idea if you want to protect your home, in terms of like very tactile, duct tape, using duct tape and sheeting. If you're worried about any of the things you discussed, how about rain? How about stuff like that, that you're in a pinch? I'm hearing get more duct tape and more sheets. They can be used to protect your home against rain, your roof against rain. The other thing I would say too is that um, people in spirit are always next to you if you want to talk to them. Okay. There's someone always there who wants to be helpful. I think that we're so locked into our um, linear lives that you have to get up, the sun comes up, the sun comes down. We got to get to work. We got to go home, feed the kids, feed each other. Be aware that God is there, but also to your loved ones, your family. I spoke to a client yesterday who's she lost a son to a drug overdose, and he came through loud and clear. I got his name, and he wanted her to know that I'm here for you. I love you. You're not alone. Because I think that she was in a place of dealing with a lot of pain and suffering, and because he wasn't there. And so if there's someone that you've lost, keep your eyes open for them. This young man showed up and was like, he felt like a very physical presence. And he apologized to his mom because I didn't listen. I didn't listen. And so it wasn't suicide. And he was like, no, it wasn't. So there are moments where we can get messages from the people we love on the other side. Okay, don't forget that. And if you think you're getting a message, don't write it off.
Do you have any messages? Last week, you actually were able to pick up on the energy of a gentleman who passed in these floods but was not found yet. Is there anyone over there on the other side that may need to get a message out urgently of someone who may be viewing this broadcast either presently or after it's uploaded?
I get this visual of a guy who died in his truck. It was like a SUV or Jeep, something like that. It feels tan in color. It feels like he was a single man. Feels like I left behind a couple of kids. He wants them to know that he did not suffer a long time. There was a very violent flipping of his car, which caused him to lose consciousness. He wants, if someone knows of a man like a tan or even like a gold, like a tan colored, I'm going to say a Jeep, family man disappeared, he will turn up. It feels like that his vehicle is among so much rubble. I'm hearing his name begins with an R, Robert, Rob. Someone has lost someone like that. He's wants you to know that he's okay and he will be there to help you.
Ooh. Mm.
Yeah,
That it?
that's what I got for now.
Wow, that's gonna really help somebody.
I
That
prayed because he showed up. He's just this guy, like on his way to work and like car flipping, and it's like I described, and that um, he knows that people are wondering where he is. He didn't leave them on purpose. Okay.
do you get the feeling that there's actually, I don't know, I can't confirm this yet. I saw a report that, I mean, they've been asking for thousands of body bags, you know that, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. And they're saying a lot of these people say they don't know who these people are.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know if that's, if that's confirmation that they're actually, I hate to tell you this, but I mean, Asheville is one of the probably like the number 8 in terms of the top 10 satanic areas on the planet. I mean, in the United States, rather.
Yeah.
And they have underground tunnels where they do sacrificing and trafficking of children and all kinds of things. And I
Hmm.
don't know if this is part of the washing out of these tunnels because I have been seeing, all right, albeit anecdotal reports on this, but still there's a lot of evidence. It's always when there's a flood, there's never a report of it happening and there not being a huge flood. That's obvious. So um, even in DC that there were floods at
And
that time and other places. Disney, oh, I heard Disney World's totally washed out. They were very flooded from this last one.
yeah.
So is that, you know, we don't know. We don't know yet. Maybe all this information will be revealed to us, but do you get a feeling on that, Mark, for this?
I feel like that there are a lot. I mean, there are. I mean, they've only reported a couple hundred deaths. I think that's a gross underreporting, and that there's a lot of people that don't want this, to blow up into, a numbers that will leave everybody in so much pain and suffering. I mean, we already are, but they would rather hide this.
Right,
So,
right.
and as for the places of satanic behavior, God can use natural elements to stop them, to harm them. However they are stopped is fine with me. I feel like that God is, I really do feel like that in spite of all of this terrible stuff we're seeing, God is still active in our lives, and we have to remember that and ask Him for help and to be very specific. Please do this for me.
Hmm. I guess for the cleanup crew or ground crew, whatever. Uh, because you know, we're we're gonna be raptured. So I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know. We don't know when. I mean, he said it'll come like a thief in the night, right?
like
So we never know when our time is. But as you've always pointed out, we have free will here,
Mhm,
and sometimes bad things happen to good people, but we never really know
mhm.
how we're going to when we're going to complete this book of life that we're in this lifetime. We don't know how our life is going to end. So it could be in an unexpected event. We just, we never know that. We never plan it, right? But when it happens, it happens. I guess if it wasn't intended to happen, you'd still be here. They'd still be here, right? So not everybody, it's kind of funny though, because we have like where you say the consciousness survives the body.
Body.
I would go as far as I would go even further than that and saying the consciousness, the soul mind consciousness, uh complex, of
Yes,
our being is what survives.
yes. I can I add to that?
Yes, I mean clarify however you want. It's
Well,
just yeah.
I see that like our soul, there's layers to it. There's like no one wants to come in to this world at a conscious level, say, I want to suffer. I want to be born into a terrible family where there's famine and abuse and pain and suffering. No one chooses that. But at a soul level, a higher level, The idea is that someone may come into this world saying, I want to see what it's like to overcome. I want to see what it's like to be a catalyst for other people to want to behave in a loving way. Um, I wish it was simple and easy. It's not. This, I mean, I heard this story about this. Um, I get another client that had an autistic child. The autistic child came into the world to see what it's like to be loved without having um, to to fight for it, to be, I mean, just to experience pure love, because people are treating her with love without any kind of no, very little expectation. They're treating her. And so, why did this happen? Why did the mother come into this life with the idea that I want to have an autistic child? No one makes that choice. We all want healthy, happy, loved, people in our lives. So why do these terrible things happen? I think that at a soul level, we're making choices that perhaps we're completely oblivious to at even a spirit level. I mean, I I I I see myself as a Christian, but I also feel like that if we wanted to come back, we can, and that puts me off the reservation. I still feel I don't need to get into too deep of a rationale, but I believe that God came for us, and Jesus sacrificed his life for us. But if we wanted to learn more in this, in our life here, that it's possible. And that may be complicated for some people, or maybe other people think I've lost my mind. I'll answer to God to that for that. Okay. But um, I have also no illusion that I'm ever going to be good enough on my own. I have to be, uh, God has to, give me grace to accept me. And anyway, I don't want to get into too much doctrine, but um, we have layers. We have this meat suit that we're in. We have our consciousness that survives the body. And then above that, we have souls that help us make choices about why we're here. And what we are here, what we're doing, I think, has a cumulative effect on um, what happens with our souls. Are we learning? I think we're here to learn and to love. That's me.
Well, that's a good thing because we've got a lot of people who yeah, there's like a lot of I hate to say it. I hate to say this person who told me this. I hate that he's right. He was always right. And he said we have too many animal souls on this planet. And I don't mean animals, I mean people. That there's a graduation from one um there's a graduation of elevating or learn developing the soul.
Right.
There's like elementary, rudimentary level.
Hmm.
Uh, and that could just be you come in as, I don't know. I mean, dogs, I guess you could be an animal of some kind. And then, once you master and overcome you know, those first level skills, I guess soul skills or lessons, soul lessons, right?
Yeah.
You can graduate to being a human. I mean, look, we know there's a lot. I mean, huskies, these dogs are scary human, okay? They're so compassionate. They understand what you're saying. They pull temper tantrums. They're like a toddler. They're beautiful dogs. And I think they're just so highly intelligent that they're really ready to graduate to being to becoming a human soul. So I don't know. I don't know about this. I just feel like there's so many animals that I feel have such intelligence that's, sometimes it just shocks us that they're so smart and that they can, in fact, learn so much. I mean, one of my previous co-hosts, Winston Shrout, said he once, trained a chicken how to dance. He used classical conditioning. He was a psych major.
Uh,
So he used a Skinner box. If you remember the Skinner experiments.
Well,
So,
I'll be honest, the only
Yes,
chicken I've seen a chicken dance, but it's because it was having its feet electrocuted.
oh no, that's terrible.
Oh yeah, it's like that's kind of
No, it's
yeah.
terrible.
They
Yeah.
just put a little juice through it, and the chicken's going. So that wasn't good. But
Where
I
did you see
spoke.
something like that,
It
Mark?
was
That's
kind of
terrible.
like at like we were
That's
somewhere in
terrible.
St. Louis, and it's like put a quarter in a machine, and it would turn a little juice on,
Mhm.
which would make the chickens dance. Kind of like this is about as awful an attraction as you're going to come up with. It was, but it's like people just, it was terrible. But I mean, anyway,
Well, we're at the
I
end of
didn't
our
go to a
pro.
club to pay for that kind of entertainment, if that's what you're, no,
I
it's
was just
like,
wondering.
it's just like kind of, it's like the worst of like, people who had too many chickens and a little electrical talent came up with that one.
Well, honestly, I've seen something similar. And because my undergraduate degree's in psychology, I did have to study, it was called learned helplessness. It was the purpose of that
Huh.
experiment was that, and you can generalize that if so it was with a dog, and you can generalize that to humans, which is obviously, they do that with a lot of research, right? And so the dog was on, I guess it had like a cage that had a partition, but that the dog could actually jump through it. So one side of it would be electrocuted they would administer a shock on the floor of one side, and then the dog would jump to the other side to escape it, right? And then once it was over, I don't know how long, but then it would administer another shock, and then the dog would jump back to the other side. And the dog eventually learned that it didn't matter if he jumped or not, he was going to get
Uh,
shocked. And so he gave up.
uh,
And this is, where a lot of people are. I mean, it's just human nature and human behavior, but what else can you do about that, right? So anyway, I don't see any more. Hi, Judy. Nice to see you. Judy is a Patreon, and she has she says her dog, her Schnauzer,
mhm.
could actually say "I love you." Yeah.
uh,
Oh, just go onto YouTube. You'll find lots of cat and dog videos where you can hear them all saying that. And they do try to talk. A lot of them try to talk. It's amazing. So it is about the escalating soul. It's about us moving from what Michio Kaku, who is the theoretical physicist who works at City University, New York, had said that we're going from like a level 0 civilization to a level 1 civilization, and that means that we have to be more evolved, more advanced. And I'm telling you, most people on this planet are not ready for that. So,
No.
you have to trust that God has control of everything, that there is a plan, that God is our not, the God of this world is actually Satan, according to Jesus, but I mean our heavenly Father. So that's the one, that's our Father in heaven. That's what I have to make that distinction, because most people worship the God of this world and don't realize that they're doing that. But so I think this is definitely, there's even a reason why we're here, put with the ruling underworld, and that's to, what if God just wanted to know who was really going to be loyal to him? He just lost all of his angels, right? They all betrayed him. Well, some of them, right? Not all of them. Some of them betrayed him. And he wants to know who's on his side.
Mhm.
Who is going to betray him. So he allows the angels to be on this planet, the fallen angels, that is, and to be this what do you call it? Obstacle between our creator and ourselves.
Mhm.
And as a test to see, as a free will. So he gave us free will. Mark, you talk about this all the time. He gave us free will. So we have the free will to choose between good and evil. And that's what he's watching. because
Oh, God.
because a lot of these people that are going to be indicted in all of this, they're already damned. They're not going where we're
No,
going.
no.
And they shouldn't, you know,
Oh.
but yeah, honestly, that's I'm not a redeemer, okay? That's between them and their creator, not me. But I do know that much of the fallen, you know, obviously are damned. So anyway, well, I want to thank everyone who's been in the chat with us tonight. And okay, Janet. Janet had a question. Can you take one more question?
Sure, I'll take one question.
Okay, one question. Janet says, just wondering if something bad happened in my house before I moved here 10 years ago. Just want to be outside here now.
Janet, I feel like that um, I'm not seeing anything. Sometimes I feel like that your home is safe. I feel like that blessing it is enough. I think fear can sometimes get in the way of our intuition. So I'm not feeling it. It feels like that there was, all right, I will go as far as to say that there was some negativity, but I don't feel like there was a brutal death or anything that would dramatically change the home. I feel like that you've done enough to protect yourself.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. And well, we're over time tonight, and we will be back next Friday to do more food for the soul with Mark and Barbara, and we will be able to take more questions then. I'm sorry, but we are done for the evening. You can put your question in the chat and then we'll make sure we answer it first thing next week if you like. Otherwise, just join us next week, next Friday at 8 p.m. God willing, we'll be here
Yeah.
for that, right? So thanks everyone
Everyone,
for joining
and
us, and thanks to Mark and Barbara for being here. Yeah.
and if they want to reach me, they can go to my website.
Oh, right, right. Your website. Let's get that pulled up here. Let's make sure
I'm
my
available. And also too, Barbara and I can, if you have a question about, say, a paranormal experience, Barb is as well versed as I am on paranormal issues. So, but if you want a reading, that's me.
I'm sorry, but I just, yeah, here we go. All right. I just had to make sure my little mouse, my keypad was charged. So here we go. Here's Mark's website if you want to get in contact with him for a reading. It's marknelsonmedium.com. So that's what we have for tonight. And I appreciate everybody being here. If you have any questions, put it in the chat and Mark will answer it next time. So until next week, have a wonderful weekend, everyone. Be safe, prepare, and we'll see you next time. This concludes this edition of the GoldFish Report.